I don't know about you guys though. I'm at a point now with my gaming career that I can't, like, COD is not enough to sustain me for a year. Like I usually get like 1 or 2 months. And maybe like I'll go, like I'm kind of bored with BRs now, so like I'm playing a ton of single player games now and just having a blast.
What are you playing?
Yeah.
Dude, I played so many games in the last year. Like I played Witcher 3 for the first time, God of War, then I played Ragnarok when that came out. I played the Spider-Man remake. Death Stranding is like now one of my favorite games of all time.
Have you played Doom?
I have not played Doom, and everybody tells me to play it. Are you talking about the newer ones, right?
Yeah.
I played the newest one. I really enjoyed it. It opened. I haven't been gaming much lately, not like I used to, and it opened my eyes to how much talent I had lost. It's a real really
fast-paced FPS, right?
Yeah, and also there's a lot of vertical aiming. Like this, like you fly through the air while shooting things.
Yeah.
So if your skill set's based on like everyone being on your plane, then that's something to adjust to. But there's
tough for the controller. Probably a lot easier with a mouse and keyboard for
I play mouse and keyboard. There's 4 skill levels that are normal, and then there's 2 that are like super extreme. Like maybe you never heal the whole way, or like you can't take any hits. But of the 4, I started on 2, which is the second easiest, and occasionally I dropped it to like it's insulting. The lowest level is like "Don't hurt me, Daddy" or something like that.
Yeah, that's the one that you played on.
It's my first time
for moments. Yeah,
I don't like being bullied by the difficulty screen on games because that happens sometimes.
I love bullying in video games because it's bullying in real life, and I like that to be mirrored in my artificial universes. It should hurt. It should be mean. When you lose and things go poorly, you should think about it when you go to sleep that night. I don't know how many times I played Tarkov, went to bed, and been like, wasted 8 hours of my fucking day. And now I'm gonna dream about my failures. You know, it hurts that much. I've been playing a bunch.
I'm compelled to explain. The monsters regenerated infinitely, and I didn't know how to kill the monster generator. So I was like alive at the higher skill level for 45 minutes, something really long, and I never got past it. It's like trying to beat Nazi zombies or something. If you don't know. So that's why I lowered the difficulty. I just kept dying and dying.
I've been really digging like very difficult games because I got into FromSoft because of Elden Ring, and I just had such an amazing time playing that game. And it just ever since I played that game, now whenever I play a game, I want to play it on the hardest difficulty. So when I played the new Jedi Survivor game, which I don't know if you guys played either Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor, but they're both like fucking dope. But yeah, I want to play on the hardest difficulty. I'm playing through Hogwarts Legacy again just because I fucking really like that game, and hardest difficulty is like still too easy. So
I can't believe you didn't participate in the boycott with us.
Oh, it's fucking
yes, that's why we didn't play.
That whole thing was so fucking ridiculous. The amount of virtue signaling that went on during that time was just insane.
Dude, and they did it to the wrong game. If it was some shitty, like pump it out in 3 months of development time, but no, they tried to go after a game of the year candidate. Like, it's incredible. I haven't played much of it. I've watched people play it, and I'm like, all right, when I have time to play it, to devote myself to that game, I'll play that game. It looks wonderful, and I love Harry Potter. I'm a big Harry Potter nerd. I'm a pothead. And so I'm looking forward to the fucking game.
It's fun. They do the combat loop so well in that game. So if the combat itself wasn't that good, then the game would have like really suffered. I mean, the open world stuff is really cool, but you need some kind of satisfactory loop. And they did the wand magic battles just so well. And
you said it twice now. I don't think I understand the term combat loop. Can you explain that?
Yeah, it's like, so if you have a game like, say, just for example, like, I don't know what's a good example of this. I mean, a combat loop is it's just a lot of these big open world games, they're repetitive by their very nature. You can't do like a game where you can dive 80 hours into it and not have some kind of repetition. So you have to have some kind of like combat system. So like in Far Cry, there's a lot of like outposts that you individually liberate like one at a time or whatever. And so you're just going from outpost to outpost. And even if you don't touch the single player campaign, you can, you're doing these sort of like repetitive behaviors in slightly different settings.
Yeah.
But if you do those combat systems well, it's, that's what you call like a combat loop. And so if you do it, if your combat loop is satisfying and it's fun, you don't mind that it's repetitive because you're having fun doing it every single time.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That's kind of the general.
Yeah, I think I had that in Borderlands. Maybe.
Did you?
Yeah, definitely.
I played a bunch of Baldur's Gate. I'm still playing that. That to me is one of the greatest games of all time now. I like it more than Oblivion or Skyrim. I like it more than any
more
other
than
single
Skyrim.
player. It's better.
That's
dude.
high
I
praise.
keep hearing it's like the best game of the last 10 years, and I've been afraid to touch it because I've never played D&D. It's just never interested me.
I never had either, and now I want to. If I had good, creative, smart, intelligent people playing D&D with me who were experienced, even now, I kind of want to do that. I'll dress up in a fucking costume. But this game, I just remember a couple of the Fallout sequels after New Vegas. Every time one comes out, everybody's like, "Good God, this dialogue system is shit." It doesn't matter. It's basically yes or no, but with a bunch of colorful language. Like, what the fuck? It doesn't matter if I'm a retarded character or a genius, a scientist or a farmer. I've still got the same yes or no, and then some bullshit hidden among.
Starfield dialogue was very like, no matter what you said, it always ended up in the same. Like, there was no your dialogue didn't really affect the game
outcome.
Yeah,
frustrating.
There weren't various paths to take. They're disguising the fact that you're on rails because they didn't spend the dev time. Baldur's Gate took like, I don't know, a decade to make or some shit. If you just happen to be a rock gnome talking to like a devil person, whatever the fuck they're called, a tiefling, you'll have a slightly different dialogue option that you'll never see again unless you have that exact matchup. And you'll gain access to areas that you wouldn't otherwise because somebody will be like, "Oh, hello, brother.
Yeah.
Haven't seen another human down here in weeks."
That's what all my pals in chat are telling me is that the excuse me, by the way, I'm just getting over a little sickness, but everybody I know that's like enthusiastic about this game they're all saying the same thing, which is like the dialogue and the choices that you make are enormously consequential in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird because it came out, I think, like right around the same time as Starfield, and so that was like a bit of a contrast. Yeah.
It's very consequential in Baldur's Gate. I played with Kyle for a bit, and then I played with some friends maybe a month after that, so like a month or two ago now, and I accidentally robbed a corpse. Didn't mean to. I was going Skyrim rules of like, you see a dead body, you go over, you hit A or click it, and then you pick up the stuff. And I didn't realize that guy's friends who were standing around, I was treating them like Whiterun guards. Not like Baldur's Gate guards. And so I just walked up, I looted this body who I guess was
like,
their
what the
friend.
fuck are you doing, bro?
And immediately they were like, "Stop, thief!" And they arrested me. And they were like, "You can go to jail or you can pay a fine." And I was talking to my other noob friends, and I was like, "Hey guys, just come get me out of jail real quick. I don't want to pay this fine." And so I went to jail. And then they show up to get me, and they're like, "Oh, I don't have a lock-picking break-in kit. Let me Google where to get that." And then they were like, "Oh, this is like a couple hours ahead." And I'm like, "All right." And I'm like naked, wandering around my cell, trying to figure it out. I quit after that because of my own issue. I was stuck in jail. I would have been stuck in jail for hours of real time while my friends.
So you were stuck in jail because you were still thinking of it like every other game we've ever played, in Doom that Woody loves, and I do too. Those games are fucking sick, and the story's so fun.
And it was my fault. I'm not saying it's big.
Every time you approach building A Spider-Man is going to burst through that wall over there, and his minions are going to come down from the sky, and it's going to be the same every time. In this game, if you know that, you can sneak up, cast some sort of cloudy spell, walk over there, put some explosive barrels where all the enemies are about to appear, and like set your own like crazy ambush up for them. I really didn't like the turn-based combat at first, but it grew on me to be this thing where I'm trying to be as efficient and good at it as I can and play. Yeah, I played that one on the hardest difficulty for sure. You really need to. Baldur's Gate is the greatest game I've played in a long time. I played a bunch of Diablo 4 when it came out, like a bunch.
Dude,
we played a ton of that. Yeah,
you know what? Though?
Too repetitive.
That's that game. I had the strangest experience with that game because I dumped like 80 hours into it in like a week and a half. I was so into that game, and in an instant, like I remember vividly, I was on my bed, I was playing with a controller. And I'm about to do another Helltide for the fucking 6th time in the last 2 days. And I just stopped and asked myself, like, do I really want to do this? Like, why am I doing this? And I didn't have a good answer. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm good. And I just uninstalled the game, right? Like it flipped on a dime for me, which is weird. So like, can you complain about a game that you got 80 hours from? Or You know,
Not
like it's hard to like critique games in that way because I had a blast playing the game. I would recommend that people play the game, but if you're looking for you know, something that's going to sustain you for 200 hours, 300 hours, I just don't think Diablo 4's got the goods for that.
It had the same problem that a lot of Pokemon games have, where like I was the whole time like, man, my necromancer's getting better and better. Soon I'll be able to have an infinite supply of corpses, and then I can explode them, and every exploded corpse creates 1.3 additional corpses. And so by the end of the battle, and so like and then it got to that point where my combat was literally walking into a group of people, and it got to the point I could just cast a curse and then hold B. Yep. And everything melts around you. And it's like, oh, well, shit. Now there's no challenge whatsoever in this. Even the butcher is getting fucked up before he can get to me. Like there's the same way, like when I play a Pokemon game, like once every 4 or 5 years, I remember that's a franchise that exists. And I'm like, I want to see what fucking Pokemon's up to. Yeah. And then you finally do get your team to like post Elite 4 level greatness. And you're like, oh man, now that everyone's right where I want them to be, I have no interest whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, and everything scales. Like everything scales to you, and like so, the whole time you're leveling up, the world is scaling up with you commensurately. Like to be at your, so you're never like, you're never. Class. And so you know, a game like Hogwarts Legacy, for example, there's some areas where if you go in and try to pick a fight, they're gonna fuck you up because you're just so underleveled for that area. But in Diablo, like everything is like so the whole leveling system just feels like
continuously too. So like in this instance, you just got a little stronger, and the scorpion you were about to cast a spell on also got stronger. You never really get to feel the
exactly.
benefit.
Yeah, exactly.
Except there are occasionally you'll get that perfect roll on your item, and it'll be like, okay, now the combo goes off, because that's what that game felt like to me. It felt like Magic the Gathering, making a card combo go off. It's like, my Winona just tripped. Get fucked.
Yeah, but in Diablo, it's literally the same exact, like, it's like a sequence of like 5 inputs. And then you're just doing that sequence over and over. At least with like trading card games, there's going to be some variation. You know, sometimes you pull that card, sometimes you don't pull that card or whatever.
Exactly.
So it's frustrating. Did you guys happen to play the Modern Warfare 3 beta or no?
I have not played a COD in years. Does it look good? So I
played when a game comes out, I put a tremendous amount of time in it real fast. Dark Tide came out, and I burnt out on that game in like 220 hours in 3 weeks or something stupid. Every time. So when COD came out last year, same thing. And like maxed all that shit out, unlocked all that shit, dealt with the UAV not working the way I wanted it to, and just eventually got to my level cap, basically, where, all right, this is as good as I am. Yeah. They're never going to let... These people I'm playing against are as good as me, and I'm not getting any better because I'm 36 years old. Like, I'm not getting better at COD this year. Yeah. So I got burnt out on that. I don't think I'm going back to COD this year either.
It's interesting. I mean, did you guys know they're bringing back like the launch slate of maps is literally the same 16 maps that launched with Modern Warfare 2?
Yeah. Really?
2009. Yeah. So they're
that might actually get
the guns too.
The guns. I don't know. I
saw somebody with like a MW2 Scar on Favela. Like that chop. Like,
I don't think they're bringing back the guns. I mean, they're like there's like a version of the ACR. They call it something else because they're no longer using those names anymore. And then there was like the Striker, which was the UMP. But there's also like new guns. So like but yeah, they're basically doing like a nostalgia bomb because on social media, Modern Warfare 2 got shit on because they did some things that kind of slowed down the movement and you could argue like encouraged more kind of campy behavior. Mm-hmm. And even though the game was like tremendously successful, they just got a lot of shit on social media. And
COD did, you say?
COD well, I mean, I feel like even more than usual last year. It was
That's like, a lot. It was more than
when
usual.
We played, when I've played recently the last few years, we've tried to use all of the equipment and be as shitty as possible. And like Kill Confirmed, we'll go up high into a building or a trailer, so they have to go upstairs to get to us. Yeah, set up those microwaves at the doors, and whatever the thing is you throw down that anybody throws a grenade or anything, a trophy system, trophy systems and microwaves, and all of us aiming at a door, camping, just being scumbags. And I'm sure that we were complained about, or that play style was complained about, because we do that all night.
Well, they made movement like way faster in this game. Like slide canceling is now like built into the game, and I don't know if you guys know what that is, but like you know, you used to have to do like a little like a 3-button press thing where it's like I don't even know how to do it on a controller. But in this game now, if you're sliding, you just hit A and it'll cancel the slide, and so they're like very specifically catering to the crowd of people online that were like really angry about all the changes last year. And then they're just throwing a nostalgia bomb at everybody. And I'm curious to see like if it's received well or if people are just going to accuse them of being, was it slide weapon swap? Yeah, it was like a 4-button press or whatever.
Damn, Zach. Yeah, so we're going back to Halo 2, fucking BXR and people.
Yeah, so they just baked it into the game now. They're like, there's like your tactical sprint recharges while you're sprinting now. It used to be before you'd have to like slow down and like you'd have to do a sprint cancel, and you just do that over and over again. So you're doing these like annoying button presses just constantly as you're like traversing the map in Warzone, and so yeah, I don't know. I gave up on trying to figure out if people are going to like the new COD, and I just say like, listen, I'm going to play it for like a month or two, probably going to have a good time, and then I'm going to move on to something else, whatever.
Multiplayer games are tough. Like I'm not an active enough gamer to be good anymore, and I'm 50. Like, am I seriously going to get good? Can I compete in these lobbies even if I try my hardest? When you said they're going to reuse all the maps from back in your heyday, Woody, I thought, ooh, so I'll be just as good as I used to be. No, there's a lot more holding me back than just map knowledge. It's going to blow. I'm going to get my shit pushed in. Maybe I belong in single player.
They added 50 HP. So like Modern Warfare 2, you start with 100 HP, and in this game you have 150 HP. So the gunfights are like, it's less about like flick and having good flick accuracy and just flicking on someone really fast and then killing him in 2 bullets like you could in Modern Warfare 2. And now you have to be good at something called tracking, where it's like you're literally like tracking the guy.
That's tough. It was flick and like anticipation. I always thought anticipation was probably more important than reaction time.